Check, check, check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Back to the home studio. Different settings. Shout out to everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. Appreciate each and every one of you for being here, sharing your most precious asset with me, and that is your time. Welcome to the Crypto Lifer Show. Why is that a little funky? There you go, a little better. Oh, what are you doing over here? Anyway, hey. So shout out to everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. Appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Welcome back to the home studio as we kick it for you every single day. God bless you all. God bless my father. God bless everybody here on this beautiful earth. Let's take a big sip of the lemon water. Let's get the lemon into the water. All right, let's do the first thing that we do. Smell that fresh lemon. The fresh lemon really takes you back. It's a beautiful thing. Shout out to everybody here on the live. Thank you for coming on in. Appreciate you all for being here. Let's take a big sip of the lemon water. I did work out today. A lot of squats, a lot of lower focus. Really had my legs burning. That's all you can do is give yourself the best thing humanly possible, and that is that water, baby. That water will bring you up. Shout out to my lovers of life. Shout out to everybody out here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Let's break down Bitcoin like we do every single day. Shout out to everybody here on the live, and we can see money is still flowing into the market like we read about. Bitcoin coming on in there. A lot of Litecoin with that halving coming up. Ethereum. I even saw some Atom earlier this morning, a little bit of Shib, even some Chainlink, some GRT getting bought in there. We're seeing some movement here in the market, a lot of Bitcoin being purchased. Whales also gobbling up XRP. We're going to break that down. We're going to talk about it. Bitcoin back above 27,000. We're going to break that down. Follow me on Twitter at CryptoLifer33. I'd greatly appreciate it. Just put out another question like I always do on my profile. And it was a simple thing, 20K or 30K Bitcoin. I just want to know, it's a simple question. Answer the simple question. Down for sure, 24K, 30K. So we're already getting some mixed signals here. Shout out to everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. Appreciate each and every one of you for being here. May God bless you all for sharing your most precious asset with me, and that is your time. Welcome to the Crypto Lifer Show. And if you're following me, my reality TV show of my life, you know that my dad passed on May 1st. And, you know, I had to go see my mom. And going to see my mom was tough because I saw the places where my dad sat on the couch. Like, his actual, like, couch divot was still there where he was always sitting. And even my daughter got sad because she went in and she went and said hi to my dad, and she realized he wasn't sitting where he always sat. It was just it was tough to be in that space. You know, I'm back home too, but I'm in the house that I grew up in with my dad too. We moved here when I was 8 years old. So and we have the same kitchen table. My dad, the coolest thing about my dad, I guess, was he didn't buy something if he didn't need it. He could have $1 million in the bank, and he would still use the same old container that he got from 10 years ago. He was frugal, you could say, or he was just resourceful. He just felt, why buy something if you didn't need it? He did keep a lot of old things, though, that, you know, we look back now, we had to clean up so much of his stuff. And he's funny, he had all sorts of hats. He wore a different hat every other day. He had all sorts of type of shoes. But God bless everybody else on the live. If you're going through something hard in your life, know that I am too. And together, we will get through it no matter what. We'll get through it no matter what. So this morning for Bitcoin, all right, let's talk about last night. Let's break it down. So last night, I was looking at this to be a bit of a flag or a bull pennant, right? But as it started to kind of show this flat line, it started to look more like a descending triangle. And I'll tell you what, the funny thing about descending triangles, they're probably the most predictable pattern in the game. They are supposed to be 50-50. But I'll tell you right now, mainly when I see a descending triangle, it is a 90% chance that it dumps to the downside. And it usually dumps really fast, the length of the base of the triangle. See that? Boom, boom. And that's exactly what happened last night for Bitcoin. What I also saw is an Adam and Eve double top. And again, what I want to talk about is when you look at parameters, like, it doesn't have to be exactly the double top, but look, it resembles the Adam and Eve, right? Just like we had the Adam and Eve the other day and we pushed it to the upside. That was like, I think it was right in here. This looked like an Adam and Eve at that point, or I think it was this one here. Yeah, that was the Adam and Eve kind of, and we got the push to the upside. Very similar thing if you look at them. So that idea, I just want to press that into your brain, understand, see some things that maybe you haven't seen before. That's this channel all about. I'm not always right. I'm not always wrong. I'm just a guy that sees the charts in a different way that may just help you see things that you hadn't seen before. It might just add something to your strategy. You might have a strategy that you like, but I might just add something to it to kind of help you along your way. So right off the bat, I started this morning, and this looks somewhat like a bear flag to me. You know what I mean? It tried to break out, tried to break back in. We could call it a bearish rectangle if you want. To me, it was a breakout, fake out. You know, they try to just get enough people enticed to think too long. but I wouldn't long if we can't get back above this previous high. That's going to be our major resistance now, 27,200. So right off the bat, pretty nice short last night from about 11 or 12 o'clock at night on down. This also had shoulder, head. This is what I call a complex head and shoulder, because you had a shoulder, you had a shoulder, you had a head, you had a shoulder, you had a shoulder, right? That's what's called a complex head and shoulder. You would grab the neckline to that line, and you would swing that. So you had bearish confluence. You had a descending triangle. You had Adam and Eve double top. You had a complex head and shoulder. All of those were leading to the idea that Bitcoin was going to struggle. Look, previous support, bounce, bounce, bounce. That's going to become your next region of resistance. So, and you can see we got a gap in here. It's likely we gap back down to 26,800 and then maybe even further down to the volume area lows, right? I had two scenarios that I was looking at, and I'm willing to look at them both. One is that we were in this falling wedge and we broke out, but it even makes more sense if we connect the dots, because now we have a residual trend line that just keeps continuing, is what I mean. By residual means like there, and again, we hit it yet again. So top, bottom, top, bottom, top. It's likely you come down to the bottom of the channel. That's just how it goes. That's just the way of the land, right? So boom, and coming down here. So I wouldn't be surprised if we come down and retest $25,000. Now, there's a chance we could maybe shoulder, come on down and try to hang out here, but that played out to me already. Really doesn't pan out. It's more likely we come even lower to this area. So I'm more bearish than bullish at this point, all right? I'm also, I told you many, many times in this channel that I'm bullish when we get above the 200 SMA on the 4 hour. I'm bearish when we get below. So this tells me to open a short with a stop loss on the other side, see where it goes. Again, it was false move Tuesday. So Tuesday was the day that kind of took over Monday. That to me changed the whole market structure of the week. And so that's one thing that I had to kind of break down and look at too, because once Monday wasn't a trading day, that kind of threw caution to the market, right? Now, we also had previous resistance. This green zone got broken, which was kind of sad. Because look, we had support, resistance, resistance, resistance. Getting above that was an amazing idea. But we were far away from the 21-day moving average. And I even said the 4 hour was going to have to come back and kiss it, hoping that we would just retest the 27,400, or, we were looking for. I don't want to hope anything in trading, but we were looking for a move right there. Shout out to John Thomas. Thank you for the love, man. God bless everybody here on the live. I was wearing this shirt. Last time I wore the shirt was the day my father passed away. I was wearing this on the live stream, if you remember, with a blue Louis Vuitton tie and a blue pocket square to match, and my navy and my bright blue coat, my new bright blue coat that my wife had got me for my birthday. Wow, so much has happened since I turned 40 years old. Like, soon it'll be 2 months since I turned 40, April 9th to May 9th to June 9th. Yeah, so I see a move to the downside for Bitcoin personally. And there you have it, right? Starting to take a dump to the downside. So I saw this happening just because we lost the volume area. We gapped out, and then the bigger time frames, they suggest that there's more pain to the downside. The 22-hour also coming down on you with a bearish engulfing candle. Looks absolutely naughty if you see that. Could we test the 200 and bounce off it? There's a chance. There's a chance, but it looks more likely that we have to fulfill the promise of coming back down to this bottom trend line. That's just kind of how it is, right? So I could see the 22-hour coming somewhere down into this region here, 25,007. And that's how you know I'm not a perma bull. People watch me when I'm bullish because we were in an uptrend and I was playing the uptrend, right? But now I see the stochastics curving to the downside. The RSI needed to reset. Doesn't look amazing. The daily also getting overbought and not able to get above a resistance. This was a key area that we had to look at because previous resistance. You don't even need to know about fair value gaps. You don't even need to know about the VRVP. You don't even need to know about Fibonacci, honestly. At the end of the day, if you just traded support and resistance, you'd be pretty spot on. And I want to talk about how important that is, right? Previous resistance is going to be another resistance till you get back above it and use it as support. So we were looking for us to flip this area, which is 28,500. And it's interesting. It usually is the 500s. It's psychological supports and resistance areas that kind of can play with your mind there. So again, everyone uses different things. Some people are using Fibonacci. Some people are using support and resistance. Some people are using fair area gaps. Some people are using order blocks. At the end of the day, order blocks created the support and resistance. Fibonacci created the support and resistance. So it's one thing to think about, all right? Could we get a smaller bounce on a scalp trade with the 4 hour time frame? There's a chance, you know, and I'm going to remove a lot of my scribble here that we broke down. But I hope you learned something from this already. The next time you see a scenario like this, you may be able to play it bearishly because you'll be able to see something that was going on in the markets. I was traveling last night, got home absolutely exhausted. I did see this in the charts. I was just absolutely exhausted. But I promise you on my life, I did see this Adam and Eve double top, this double top here, and this descending triangle, and that the fact that we hit the top of this channel, likely that we'll go to the bottom, you know. There's one other scenario that we can play out, and I'm just going to be open-minded to look at it. And that's the key, is just to be open-minded. That's all. Nothing more, nothing less. You know, just be completely open-minded. And if you saw me yesterday on the live stream, I was extra salty about the Celtics. I really was just extra salty. I'm in a way better mood today, but be honest, yesterday was just a rare day, man. I had just held my mom in the basement as she cried. You know, we were going through some stuff that my dad had kept in the basement, and we were talking, and she was just like, he's gone. Like, he's just gone. Like, it's just... And, this is the hardest loss I've ever had to deal with in my whole life, you know. And losing a parent, it's like you're not ready. Like I get these spouts of like a little baby, like I'm not ready. Like I'm not ready yet. Like I'm not ready for it to get taken from me. I'm not ready for this. But like you're never ready. You're never ready. Just like having a kid. You know what I mean? Morning lifer on a hike overlooking the ocean, listening to your amazing knowledge and vibe. Shout out to you, Grow I Grow, man. So happy that you're out there getting in that fresh air, man. God bless you, brother. God bless you. You know, so we could also look at it this way, and we could say we're just retesting and say, okay, there's a chance we get a bounce back to the upside. The 4 hour would create the bounce, and I'm open-minded to this idea, right? I'm not 100%, like, I don't try to stick to one thing, right? Descending triangles tend to make falling wedges over time, all right? Could we make a nice falling wedge here and make a move back to the upside? There's a chance, you know? Do we get a little bit of a bounce today? We take a look at the 1 hour time frame. The 1 hour is screaming for a bit of a bounce. Those smaller time frames are itching our way down. I mean, that's what I call a bearish rectangle right there. So I wouldn't be surprised if we continue to the downside and hit the lower channel part of this idea. So I'm giving you two scenarios, and I know you're like, I'm not trying to confuse you. My ability to trade is my ability to see two things at once and decide which one is going to play out more in the higher probability time frame. Okay, the daily's still above the 200 SMA, well above it too. We may come down and retest it one more time. And I heard someone talk about a CME gap. Let's take a look at the CME gaps. A few have been created since we've looked at them. So let's take a look at that as well. We look at Bitcoin futures and CME, all right, and we'll break it down. We'll talk about it. So we have a CME gap right here in this area at about 20,009, 20,200 to 20,009. That's going to be your gap, all right? And then it looks like we made a gap right here today that we had to fill. So we gapped up this weekend, pumped up. The second the markets really got a hold of everything this morning, they closed that gap real quick. You can see that gap was closed. So that could be another reason for the pullback is this gap here. I want you to understand it's this gap right here. We gapped up. We just closed the gap easily, right? Not every gap gets closed. About 95% of gaps get closed. One other thing is there is a gap up here that is in waiting too, and we didn't break this bigger channel. See this bigger channel, which is a low, a high, a higher low, a higher high, a higher low. So far, we still put in that higher low, right? Until we break this low, we are still in an uptrend technically. So until we break 25,950, it's not that horrible, right? It's not the worst thing in the world. So one thing, I just want to calm you down here while everyone's getting super bearish and just show you what I see happening in the markets today, all right? God bless everybody in the live. Thank you for jumping on in. Can we get the likes up to the watchers? I would greatly appreciate it. 136 people on the live stream. Let's pump it on up. We're all going to get there, some earlier, some later. Hugs, exactly. Lost my sister to breast cancer in 2012, and it's still fresh in my mind. Always remember that they are always with us in spirit, man. Sam, nothing in my life has been going in my favor for the past couple months. Crypto and your live streams are the only thing I live for. Silos V2, man, don't worry. I've been there. I've been at some of the lowest points in my life, and I've somehow gotten out of them. So you will too, man, as long as you don't give up and you don't fall all the way into the dust, into the dirt, into the pain, Just in, Bitcoin got a 10K price target from JP Morgan. It's funny, they were just given a 40K price target recently. I take everything with a grain of salt. You know what I mean? Anything could happen. Anything could happen, right? We'll see. I mean, I don't see anyone saying anything there. Let's see, in the past day, I Google that idea. They simply went home. Down here, we're the ones that are away. How is the YouTube membership count going for your channel, Lifer? It's going all right, man. Thank you for saying that. God bless you. If anyone wants to join the membership in the YouTube channel, jump on in today. Show some, just show some support. That's all it is. You get an extra little name tag there, access to some emojis, and as we keep going, we'll get more emojis. Lifer's hair is looking fresh today. Sheesh. Yeah, I don't know. I just, I didn't comb my hair today. All right. I forgot to comb my hair and just let it kind of do its thing. So it's kind of in like a spiky whatever. And I used to spike my hair back in the day. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with it, actually. I don't really care. You know what I mean? I care more about the charts than my funky hair, but it is a little weird. I'll be honest. It like dried in this strange way. Still doesn't look too bad, you know, and I haven't shaved in 5 days because I never really bring shavers when I go to my mom's house, and I just forget. But luckily, my dad shaved every day, and my mom gave me all of his old shavers, which he had like $200 worth of shaving stuff. So, you know, it's weird when someone you care about that you talk to every day passes away, because it just becomes this like this numb feeling of life. It's pretty interesting. And I saw characters in the movies go through pain, and I thought about it, but I never realized what it would be like until it's you. Until it's you. So the daily with a bearish engulfer, I mean, nasty daily candle here. Last 3 days have been nasty since our nice, beautiful pump gave it right back to the downside. So it could be a bull trap just trying to get people enticed to flood us down to the downside. So two scenarios that I'm giving you is one, that we come down to the bottom of the channel. All right. There's a chance this creates a bit of a bullish retest, right? Just like if this was a falling wedge and a rising wedge and you bearishly retested it to the downside, there's a chance we're just coming for that little retest. But the daily looks like more pain is coming. I mean, it's just getting started for the dump easy. So 3-day looks great. In the long-term idea of things, the 3-day looks pretty nice to me. Suggests that maybe we can still kind of corner this one out, but you never know. We got to get through the daily first, and that's the first thing in order. One thing we're going to look at too is the show, which is all the interesting things that affect the markets on a daily basis. The first thing we'll look at is the S&P 500, and we'll take a look at the S&P 500, which I usually look at the ES1, the futures contracts on ES1. So that's what we're going to look at is E-mini S&P futures. So I went over the idea that the S&P looked somewhat more bullish than bearish, right? It's inside this ascending triangle, and there was kind of a smaller ascending triangle inside of that one, right? Seeing if we can hold the zone. We kind of peaked out, but we're still going into this slight channel. And again, we could even make a nastier dump down here, get tighter in the zone, and this could still make its bigger move to the upside. I like what I'm seeing on the daily. I like what I'm seeing on the 2-day. 3 days resetting, but can we come back down and get a retest? As long as we keep this trend line alive, S&P is still bullish, right? 1 hour also suggests that possibly we could get a little bit of a pump back to the upside. But right now, feeling just some bearish tones on the smaller time frame. So again, just like Bitcoin, we just kind of fell out of this bear, bit of a bear flag kind of thing going on here. Almost see you got a rounded top. Look at the shoulder, the head, and the shoulder there. Beautiful shoulder, head, and shoulder. Kind of a perfect head and shoulder. Then we retested the neckline and took a dump to the downside. So now I'm looking for some type of reversal pattern. And right now, until we get that reversal pattern, it just shows that we will continue to the downside. All right. So look, if we look at the S&P, sorry about that. We look at the S&P right now. All right. We'll go back to what I was talking about here. So Bitcoin, it could fumble down this range, more than likely come down to 25,500. That's an area that I'm looking at for support, all right, just because that's our trend line. And then we also looked at the idea that Bitcoin could be just retesting the bigger channel. CME gap as well, showing you the CME gaps, I believe, before I went into my hair thing. Apologize for that. But the CME gap right here at 20,004, all right. Yeah, shout out to Benjamin Bernier. No, I was not running late this morning. Were you running late? No. I was actually right on time. I'll be honest, I have nothing to say today, honestly. I'm just being me. It is what it is. Okay. Shout out to Joshua Jellowick. God bless. Big head and shoulders forming possible on the 22-hour time frame. Like, well, this is another thing that I was talking about. Remember, we went over this. Could this be a shoulder? Could this be a head? Could this be a right shoulder? And take a nasty dump down. Could we see lower targets? Could you go down to, you know, if you're not ready for Bitcoin to see 15,000, 10,000, right? Then you're in the wrong game. You got to be open-minded for everything possible and ready to make gains no matter what. Ready to short, ready to long, ready to take advantage of what the market gives us, right? That's the one thing. Is Wednesday a good day to trade? Wednesday usually is a great day to trade. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, my favorite 3 days to trade. But when the market closes on a Monday, I find it throws off the entire week. The entire week gets thrown off, and it's a bit of a frenzy. So always be careful when there's a trading day missed. It really throws off most of the market. So shout out to Benjamin Bernier. Shout out to everybody here on the live. Shout out to all my people. Sorry for not having the chart up there for a second. Great interview with Wendy O yesterday. I urge everyone to watch it and smash the like button. Shout out to Marcelo. Thank you for the love, man. I appreciate that. Yes, and Wendy O on the channel. I just found out this guy. I never heard of who he was. I have no idea. He's a funny dude, but anyway. But yeah, Wendy O on the channel yesterday. Jump on in and take a look. She looked wonderful. It was a wonderful stream. She also had a lot to say, and it was awesome. Good interview. You know, family ties. You know, we were just breaking down a lot of different things. But that's, yeah. So when the end of the stream, jump on into this Wendy O interview. I think you'll absolutely love it, and it'll blow your mind. So the S&P, we're looking at the gaps, right? And just one thing to talk about is that we made a gap this weekend, and we came and closed it immediately. So there was the gap right there. We came and closed it the second that kind of New York began to open this morning. The big boys decided to close the gap. So just, you know, and remember, man, people are starting to get ready for the summer months. The summer months can be tough trading cryptocurrency. It just is what it is. Even just the regular markets. A lot of people are off for the market. They don't want to stare at the market all day long. So it's just like, it's a harder time to trade. It's a harder time just for everybody. You know, streamers out there, if you're seeing some tough times, don't worry. You just got to stream through it. There's nothing else you can see. There's nothing else you can do but push forward every single day of your life, right? So, yeah, so we're still watching the 7-minute flag here, all right? That to me is likely to continue to dump to the downside. Right now we're waiting. If the 7-minute pumps back up, all right, waiting for this a bearish retest. The only good thing that I see for the bulls, all right, that's, you know, I have to break down, is there is this kind of double bullish divergence here now, right? Like this is a upwardly trending uptrend, and this is a nasty downtrend here. And that tells me, hey, we could get a reversal back to the upside. I'd like to see the reversal pattern, the double bottom, somewhat of an inverted head and shoulder here. Like, could we make a shoulder? Could this be our head? Could we make a right shoulder for a move back to the upside? These are just things that I'm thinking about and going over every single day here. So for me, I got to get confirmation. Bitcoin has to at least close a 1-hour candle back above 27,200, or I would remain bearish, right? Until the bulls can show us that they can push us back above the zone, I would remain bearish. So right off the top, right? And then your measured move, where you're going, headed down probably to 26,400. So very likely we're going lower, in my humble opinion, and we'll get it confirmed by possibly a bearish retest. This will come back up on the Stokes, will turn. If these Stokes are turning back to the upside and we don't make it back above these two areas, then you have to assume that the momentum is going to continue to the downside, all right? And that's kind of probability. I trade stochastics RSI because they always go up and down. That's your constant, just like in a scientific experiment, right? Like even here, this is a really good example of it. Price action went up. Price action went down. Price action went up. Price action went down. And so did the Stokes. They moved up and down with price action. You see that? That was the same little hills there, right? And back up to the upside, came back down, right? Boom. Once you make a high on the stochastics and price action, but then you oscillate up, and look, you oscillate back up again, and you can't break the high, like to short that stochastic. So when stochastics reset, but you don't break a high to the left, it's much likely that you're going to drop to the downside. These are just concepts that I've been breaking down for myself. This is my own little world of trading. And, you know, I don't need a lot of other indications. I just need to see that the stochastics decided to reset and we didn't break a previous high. Then I throw in a pattern in there like the complex head and shoulder and a descending triangle, bit of an Adam and Eve double top, and things start to kind of come, and you have what's called bearish confluence, okay? Bearish confluence. So there's a chance we do get a move off of this level here, off of this bullish divergence, right? And that's why I was looking at this one idea, because you don't want to miss it. So I always have two concepts in my mind. All right. And one idea is that we could be still in this channel here, and we could be attempting to bullishly retest this channel. You see, I'm just gonna get rid of this for now, and the moving averages for a second, because they get a little cluttery. So all I'm looking for here is just a bullish retest of this area. That's what I'm looking for. You know what I mean? If we get a bullish retest of the zone, we get a bounce back to the upside. And so that's something. And remember, right at the end of this thing, you're looking at the 7-minute bullish divergence. So, I just want you might know what bullish divergence is. We're teaching you today. You might not understand what a bullish retest is. We're showing you this idea. Now, what makes it more uneasy for me is that we had this beautiful, first of all, we had the bounce, and we had the bounce back here. We had beautiful resistance. We fell through that resistance. You know what I mean? Once we fell through the resistance, not a good look. You know what I mean? Things just were, it wasn't an amazing move. So told me that we had to be careful when we fell through the resistance and likely get a bit of a bounce here, or something's going on with this 7-minute time frame. So now I'm looking for the 7-minute to bearishly retest. Now, so I'd stay in a short if I was in a short, wait for this to come up, but I would add to the short if this stochastic resets to the 7 and decides to turn on us. We'll look at BOOKMAP to see if what BOOKMAP has more liquidity to the upside or to the downside. That'll also kind of corroborate the story, add to the idea. And that's why I use BOOKMAP, just to kind of double up what I'm looking at. All right. Shout out to the 190 people on the live stream, or the 190 likes. Can we get the likes up to the watchers? I would greatly appreciate it. It would push us all the way back to the 600-700 people we used to get on the live every single day before the May madness. All right. Cody's moving up on the 7. What we hear on the debt ceiling, isn't it today? We know they made a deal, right? Just how much they're going to raise it by, or like what parameters they have the deal under. We know they did make a deal, though. So there's definitely a deal going on. Where they're going to raise the debt ceiling. We know that for a fact. But what is the deal? Like what, how much, where's money going to, stuff like that, allocation. And it seems like, not many people are happy with what happened there too as well. So look here. We do have more liquidity to the downside, all the way to 26,500. This corroborates my story that maybe we get a tiny little short squeeze right now, then we turn to the downside and go further down. So I would be looking for this to further dump. Even though we do have a bullish divergence, that divergence is only as good as breaking back above the previous high. We could get a pump on it, but if we can't get above the previous high, then it is what it is. So we're looking at this very, very closely. This is something that I'm watching very, very closely. So just be careful of that. All right. That's just something on my radar that we'd have to look out for. And it could happen too. So just be very, very careful. If we get a bearish retest here, it defies the bullish divergence. I just want to make that comfortably clear. And even right here, swing down and swing down. Now you got to swing down here. They're kind of matched, right? You're getting a little bit of bullish, bearish momentum, but it is pretty small. So again, as a trader, I don't know where price action is going to go. I don't know. All I do is trade on basically probabilities, right? I'm not like, this is exactly what's going to happen. That's exactly what's going to happen. I don't do that, because once you tell yourself you know where trading is going to go, you get blasted. Where is everybody from in the chat? Let me know. Cheer me up today. Tell me where you're from. On a cruise ship in St. Kitts, but still remember to hit the like button, man. Sean Z XRP is on a cruise ship in St. Kitts. St. Kitts is beautiful. See how many people in the stream? Someone's out there running. Someone's on a cruise ship. People are getting out there, baby. Right? I was just in Miami not too far, So JP Morgan says crash to 10K for Bitcoin. Bullish. You never know. Thank you, Hannah. Do you know what time? Shout out to everybody here. Bristol, Tennessee. Let's go. Cape Coral. Oh, what a beautiful place. Michigan, Netherlands, Pakistan, Houston, Ometempe Island, Miami, baby. Tampa, Ohio. Sitting in a Maserati at work. That's pretty hot. Do you work on Maseratis or do you own a Maserati? That's pretty cool. You got to let us know, Joshua Jelowick. You got to take me for a ride on the Maserati. Mile High City, Kansas, Texas, sitting on the toilet. Shout out to Jeff Perry on the toilet. AM from Kentucky. Fan from India, England, Romania. What's your thoughts on Ave? Pismo Beach, baby. Shout out to Pismo Beach, Turkey, Ireland. My man, Zoran from Ireland, my buddy. God bless you, brother. China, South Africa, Kenya, Kike, Morocco, California, counting money. Bristol, UK, Fibonacci, Virginia Beach. Is this going to take all year? Manila, Lifer from the Philippines, my man. Darlow from England, Burlington, Ontario, Costa Rica, brother, my man. Cesar Cordero, England. Marcelo from England, my man. Philippe from Portugal. San Diego. You jump Portugal. You can't do that, my man. I don't know what he means. How do you jump a country? Having Blunt from India. Oh, wow. That's what you guys do over there, huh? Sitting on the toilet. Another person laughing about that. Norway, California, the Hammer. Who from Dubai? Steamboat Springs, man. That was one of my dad's favorite places. Colorado. Steamboat Springs, Colorado. I mean, he had a Steamboat Springs he went there. He worked there. He loved Colorado. Brazil. Rigging a bridge in Pittsburgh. Sydney, Australia. Lifer's Basement. Get out of there, man. Shidnell, Holland, Oklahoma City. Lifer from Nigeria. My man. That's where our man Lakochi is from. Timbuktu. Moncton, Canada. Sneck is on Mexi. I know they're moving Sneck on to Mexi. Crazy, right? Portugal. I've lived for nearly 10 years in Bristol, Connecticut, right? Steamboats. Beautiful. I'm from Pakistan. Results. Boston. My man. Results. Boston is a place called Results. Okanagan Valley, El Salvador, the Netherlands, Philippines, Fort Worth, Texas. Unbelievable. Get the likes up to the watchers. Let's go. This ain't your average YouTube channel. Let's go. Get your likes up to the watchers, baby. Get me going. Get me going. And shout out to each and every one of you for jumping on in and being here with me. I greatly appreciate every single moment that you spend with the Crypto Lifer. Much appreciated, much obliged, and thank you so much for the love. Shout out to Hot Rod. Shout out to Marco. Shout out to Sharad Meetna, lifer from India. Brazil, we have people, as you can see, from all over the world, from Brazil to Fort Worth, Texas, all the way to India, Spain, Portugal, Nigeria. Shout out to you, Sam. Shout out to Win Lovagorna. God bless you, Win. Thank you for the love. Bristol, UK, he said. That shows me. Get pumped. Join the 99 and be on time. Shout out to everybody here on the live. So we're looking at a possible bearish retest of this line for a continuation of the short to the downside. And remember, that short would take us to about 25,800, right? That's kind of the level that is telling us that's where we're likely going to go. 26,300, actually. Sorry about that. And when we look at BOOKMAP, it does give us way more downside liquidity to 26.6, even down to 26,500. So it's likely we get a move to the downside. Welcome to Crypto Newbie, who just became a member on the channel. God bless you. Thank you for hitting that member button. We really appreciate that. Crypto Newbie, back in, representing. 1 hour wick on the dollar looks good. Love you, man. And that's so funny. Interesting enough. So, yes, my West Country brother. Welcome, Crypto Newbie. Shout out to everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on in. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here, sharing your most precious asset with me, and that is your time. Let's go, baby. Let's go. So a lot of people got shocked by the market this morning. Woke up like, what? What happened? Right? It just is what happens, man. And let's take a look here again on the Twitter feed. And I can take this Twitter and post it here into the chat. So you can just, it's real easy for you. Just click that link and it'll take you to this little questionnaire that I have here. 20K or 30K, real quick and easy, right? Just want to see how the sentiment has changed. I've asked this before, but I want to see how the sentiment has changed. This guy grinding Bitcoin. That's funny. Yo, Lifer, you know the answer. It's in the video below. Several people in this video are in this room. My man, right? I love this idea. Cassius Cuvée put this out. Really good thing that he did. A bunch of people said a bunch of different things, right? And I did say 30K there. Most likely 25K, it's looking like. And I see what he's saying. This is interesting. Some Elliott wave theory that will hit this and come back to the upside. It's possible. I see the channel a little differently, but we'll look at that. Hey, at least you got an idea. Stick to your idea. My man, it's 20K. It's never happening again. But hey, keep getting bears excited, I guess. Bitcoin. Neither soon. Crabbing between 25 and 28K till the Fed changes direction. Down for sure. 20K, 24K. Cardano meme coins. That's all that matters. I love that. Tib, don't GAF. This is a revolving question. It is. And it will change as the days continue. Bank continuing to get that love on Twitter. If you remember, Bank is that coin that we were looking at on Tap Tools. And I have it here for you just in case you were interested in what's happening. I do see a shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder there for Bank. And it's starting to make that descending triangle, right? Which is a bearish scenario here. So that's bearish confluence, right? Now, the only thing that you could try to say, well, maybe it's making this falling wedge. And there's a chance that this falling wedge breaks to the upside for a quick move to the upside. Something to think about, right? So that's on the radar too as well. Hold on one second. I have one thing, I hear someone at the door. I got to check the door. I'll be right back. Give me 2 minutes. Sorry about that. My neighbor bugging out. It's all good. Everything is cool. Shout out to everybody here on the live. So look, Bitcoin's starting to get a bit of a bounce, but let's focus on this. This thing is trending like you wouldn't believe. All right. I've never seen something trend like this that's just bugging out. Right. And let's take a big sip of the lemon water. Let's stay hydrated. Make love to that lemon. Don't make love to the lemon. Okay. Ooh. Pucker up, Sally. So we're getting oversold on this, and you could say, okay, yes, shoulder, head, and shoulder. But the fact that it's trending so much tells me, wow, there could be some more bank coming for this thing called bank. So despite what's happening in the market, there's always going to be an opportunity. Remember the last few days, this thing went up like 15x. A buddy of mine put $600. It turned into $9,000. And he couldn't believe it. He had to hit me up. He's like, yo, this is horrible. Lemon water is bad for your teeth. That's what they tell you. That's what they tell you. But don't worry. If you have good, strong enamel, you'll be fine. Take a deep breath. Lemon water is bad for your teeth. Yeah, if you put on it every single day. Trust me, I drink lemon water for the last 10 years, and my dentist has been like, I have some of the best teeth he's ever seen. Every time I go in, he goes, the only thing my dentist harps about is flossing. He said, you just got to floss as much as you can. Floss as much as you can, humanly possible. So we're getting a bounce off the bullish divergence, which is interesting, right? The swing down to swing down with the swing up, we're getting a bounce, right? And we should technically get a bounce here. How big the bounce is the question. That's definitely bullish divergence, right? I'm seeing for this bearish retest of this area. Like that would be the perfect place to enter a short right there. right there, in my humble opinion, because you're battling a trend line and you haven't won the trend line yet. Okay, technically that should be the short entry right now as we speak for the further downtrend. You know what I mean? So there you have it. That's what I would be playing small time frames until the market begins to settle. We have 2 weeks again till Fed comes and has a meeting and they talk about another rate hike. How horrible is that? Absolutely, right? No good. So we'll wait for that time to happen, and then it'll be what it is. So when we get there, right? And that will be in 2 weeks from now. So the key is to survive, to keep capital on the, again, I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing I say and do should be taken as financial advice, but survive. All right. And I mean survive. I mean, don't FOMO. Think of all your losses and all your wins and all your ups and downs in trading, right? And say, are you still here? Do you still have pocket square slips on this one? Do you still have capital? There's a lot of people that went harder than you, all emotional, and they got bagged. Like, I'm talking bad, like horribly bad. Like, they are down to the point where, like, they've lost 50K, 80K, even 3,000 for someone that only had a few $1,000s. So if you're getting that FOMO, if you're getting that feeling, if you're getting down and out, if you're getting depressed and all that, just realize that as long as you stay in proper risk management, as long as you don't go aping into things and you take a deep breath, like, don't use $10,000 on a meme coin when you only have 20 grand in your bank account. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just going over scenarios that I've seen people do. These are things you don't want to be doing. Okay? Remember, mentality is just as important as understanding technical analysis. That's why some days, some weeks you'll see me, or not weeks, but some days I'm on the live and I'll become like a little off the charts a little bit. And I'll be talking more about mentality, game plan, mindset. You know what I mean? Because that's the key. That's the pocket of awareness that you could have all the TA down. If your mindset is completely off, you're not going to be able to fully implement any type of knowledge that you're getting. All right. Mindset creates the ability to progress through the knowledge in which you receive. Say that with me again. Mindset gives you the ability to progress through which the knowledge that you receive. So without mindset, it's right back to the drawing board all over again. Okay. So, and look, this got, and what's interesting, that was an inverted cup and handle. You see that? So you can trade the cup and handle the same way I trade it up, the same way you can trade it down. You get it? And that will blow your mind too. And that's why I flip the charts upside down, because they give me this insight. They give me this other ability to see what's going on. Right? Boom. Double top to some, inverted cup and handle to others, right? And there it hits the target too, which is interesting. Tries to bounce back in. It's all about this. If it gets back inside this trend line, I'd like to see a 7-minute candle close below this trend line and confirm. So now look, it's trying to break back inside the zone, but this is interesting price action. Want to be like, we can almost call it like this, some type of flag. And I feel like this was the channel here. But now do we have, like, we're getting, now we're kind of getting a bit of a diamond pattern. Okay. So now we have to be aware of this idea. Okay. But this just came up. Like, see, this is new to me. I just saw the diamond. I may be one of the first people on YouTube to put the diamond out. Right? This may become the reoccurring shape that you see now if you watch other technical analysts. But this is how it works. To be able to identify it before others, to see what's really happening in the market, right? And now, I've seen this play out as a diamond before, right? There's no reason why it can't be a diamond today, right? Just interesting, okay? Now, diamonds usually reverse price action. So if a diamond comes in from the bottom, you get the squiggle, you get the whipsaw, and then you get the squiggle, and then you get the break back up to the upside. That's 70, almost 80% of the time, as long as there's other, and you also want to see, like, are you at see, you're at a high volume node where you could gap up back to this point of control too. This is a good gap. So we want to remind ourselves. Now, we're playing with it right now because that's why it's likely too, we hit the bottom of the channel, because there's a gap here too. All right, with the high volume node. So you start understanding too, like if you get through this high volume area and you close candles up in here, then you're going to gap out. And then, you know, that gives you confirmation to take the trade. Okay. Now the other way around, if you befuddle here and you know, so you're looking for bearish retest, bullish retest. Now this is a bounce off the bullish divergence. I'm breaking this down. I see this, what I learned the most, because I started, okay, bullish divergence works every time. That's what you have to believe it's going to work. All right. And it does work every time. But favorite pizza spot in mass, Brick Dorsey. Lifer, can you show me how to pull up the CME gaps on Bitcoin? Yeah, it's simple. Let's go to BTC USD, type in, and you'll see, well, I did that fast, BTC USD, and you'll get a bunch of different ideas, right? And right here, you see Bitcoin futures, CME. You click on that, and it's going to show you, and I go to like the daily time frame. All right. And what we look for is the areas where you see there's an actual space, right? So like if you take this away, you can see there's a huge gap there, right? So I just filled it with the green zone, okay? And then this weekend, there was a gap between these two candles, right? And then here, there was a gap here too. So you see, I just filled the gap. It might even be a little smaller than that. Yeah, and so I fill the gap. Good. The daily is a good time frame to see. Like here, we had a gap that got filled, and being filled just means that a candle body, more than one usually, but at least one will close in that same zone if you look right. So if you look right from the gap, eventually a candle should close there. So should we come down and close that? I mean, it was kind of similar to this, boom, and we came down. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a cash grab, like a liquidity zone. So they need a catalyst. So they need some bad news. You know what I mean? They're going to, you know, so they always try to push a narrative in the news to get people to do the emotional thing, to push them into the where they want price action to go. You see, and then everyone says, oh, it was the news. But like, yeah, it was their plan, which they use the news, you know, to dupe you. But the charts will always kind of tell you beforehand. So as long as you stay out of the news, like we go over news here on the channel, but it's more like Polygon did a deal with Polkadot. Like, you know, this exchange is going to do this in this country. You know what I mean? Or, you know, regulation has come out in the UK. Like that's, you know, but you don't want to be listening to like the overall FUD and fear of the market. Like whoever controls the emotion of the market. That's, you know, and whenever you feel yourself getting pushed towards an emotion that you almost feel like is unreal, like, is it my emotion or is it, you know, you're being led into something and you have to go to nature. And that's why if you spend at least a day or two in nature a week, and you just get out there beyond the trees and you relax and you take it in. Even the beach is a good place. To me, the beach is nature, right? You're sitting there with the sand, the sun, you hear the ocean. It's a cleansing moment. Every time you spend those times, you're going to come out of it feeling better. You're not going to even understand why you truly feel better, because nature has this ability to reset you. And as humans, we need to go to nature. It's so, so important. If you're in the screens all day long, but you don't get that nature balance, and honestly, you'll see the chart so much clearer when you finally bring nature into your life. And I'm sure most of you do, because you're lifers. And lifers are amazing people. And the more of you I meet, the more amazed I am. You know, like one guy's right now, you know, he's like, I'm out here hitting the like button and I'm out here hiking, looking over the ocean. So I just want you all to feel the love every single day here on the channel. May God bless you all for being here. I'm blessed to have each and every one of you, and we're blessed to have each other as we keep this going. You know, I can't wait to meet more of you. Meeting lifers is amazing. Every time I meet a lifer, the gratitude, the attitude, and the positive energy is just amazing. You know, there's so many people now that I've met through the channel that's become my life, is meeting the people in the channel. Like, it's a mission for me to meet as many of you as I can in person, and to have, I don't know, just to have a real community of people that it's real. It's not just YouTube keyboard warriors. It's really real people with real thoughts and real ideas. And I've seen people change their lives over and over again through the channel and through their, you know, through their own push. But somehow they said they met the channel and the channel got them on the right path, whether they quit alcohol, whether they quit doing drugs, whether they quit whatever. Or, you know, some people just said, hey, I started just drinking more water. Like maybe not even just lemon water, but more water. Like I started just eating a little better. People have messaged me for so many different reasons, and I always thought it was just, hey, I made some gains, I learned how to trade, blah, blah, blah. But it became, like, the testimonials that I read now, they break my heart. People said I was in depression, but your channel has pulled me out. I was doing this, but I haven't touched it since then. Like, I finally got off my butt and started doing this, or I finally decided that every day was my last day, and I like what you're saying, you know? Or I stay motivated because I watched you, or I was depressed when I first met your channel, but you got me out of the biggest rut of my life, or it just, and the list goes on, and I feel honored to have anything like that ever even being said with me, about me, near my brand. It is, to me, it's a dream come true, and God bless every one of you, because you've given me a purpose beyond belief that I never thought I would feel or have, and I pray to God every day that that is, you know, the true intention of my life, and may it keep continuing in the manner in which it has gone, and it's just a blessing, and I thank you. Anyway, I know I went on a tangent there, but I had to realize the realization of how beautiful this moment is with each and every one of you. All right, and it's a blessing to be alive. So we're looking at the total market cap, right? And so to me, this is a little cleaner, right? If we raise this up and we put it here, I mean, I guess we can still get the same resistance zone. So there it is. I mean, I will bow to that. I bow once it makes sense, and you can't really, like, so that is a rejection point, right? We're in this wedge, and that's the only thing to me that has me a little, you know, weary, is that you know, I'm a pattern trader, and when you kind of like, the idea of being a pattern trader, I'm not just using patterns, but I'm trying to identify the best definition for this for you. It's almost like, this is kind of the worst example, but somewhat of an example. Say someone was on like a paddle team, and they're a right paddle guy and one's a left paddle guy, let's just say, and, you know, because someone sits on either end, and he's like, well, I'm a right paddle dude, like, so I always use the right paddle, like, and be like, okay, like, I never go to the left side, like, I perfected how to be the right, you know, whatever. I know that's the weirdest example, but it's, in trading, it's like you could be a left paddle guy or a right paddle guy, and that's just two different scenarios of trading, or two different ideas that you stick to. And as someone that you like consider pattern trading, is once in a pattern, you'll be in a pattern. So, like, until you decide to break it. So, like, and as simple as that seems, it's more to really truly believe it. So, like, I just believe that this will continue this way until we get a breakout and a retest of a zone, or a breakdown. You know, the breakdown happens. The only thing about it, like today, the breakdown happens a lot faster than usually. The breakup builds, creates, you know, and the breakdown, the first initial breakdown comes down, but then you look for the bear flag, and that's your continuation down too. And the Stokes will lead you, because what will happen is the Stokes will come up, come down, come up. They'll come down. Price action will dump with the stochastic. Stochastic will come up, right? And it will reset, and you'll still be sideways down here. And, you know, you're expecting price to reset with the stochastics, which can happen in some of these reversals. But if you know, and that's a reversal pattern, and you'll find on that one, the 1 minute will show like an inverted head and shoulder, or some type of double bottom. There'll be some shape or form that leads to that probability, because it has, that's like how, like, price action has to make patterns to move into patterns. It just, and if you don't see it, it just means it happened on such a small time frame that you didn't notice it. And that's the insanity of it. What I mean by that is, it's almost like price action can never just go down and come back up. All right. Like it, I mean, it can do it like on a whipsaw, like we call it, but eventually it'll make like a diamond pattern, and then you'll be able to, like for the most part. And even when it does that, if you were to look at like the tiniest time frame, like the 5 second or the 3, you still would have seen like a little bear flag or some type of head and shoulder sideways, and you would have been able to at least still identify. And that's why, like, we do the live things that we do with the smaller time frames, not to, like, you know, as fun as it is and it's entertaining, but the main point is to show you how price action must move through the same parameters over and over again throughout, like, whether it's on a smaller time frame or a bigger time frame. It is always stuck in, and I find it, I call it like the matrix, like this geometric shape, or like mathematical universe in which we live in. It can't seem to escape the zone for whatever reason. Like, price action has to follow the rules, so to speak. So inside of this bigger falling wedge, we see this falling wedge, right? And you could kind of see how this, if you're open-minded enough to see, could be turning into like a symmetrical triangle here that could then break out or break down, right? And we could be getting, so it's all about if this trend line holds. You see what I mean? And you'll know, like, this first bear flag will drop, and then do we come and make another one on a smaller time frame? I believe it's most likely we come back down to the bottom of the channel here. Sad, I wouldn't want to break $1 trillion market cap. We're kind of at a tight level here, and we still had that very strong bullish divergence, which to me can still significantly say that's pretty good, pretty much a bottom bounce indicator for at least a break of the next two highs. That's when you get a strong divergence, it usually begins the channel up to bigger highs. But nothing is guaranteed in trading, and you have to say we did hit resistance of this diagonal trend line. Could be a diagonal Fibonacci level too, like if we really deep dive it. So the only thing that's holding us down is, like, we do have support right here. That is a support at $1.07 trillion, right? So we do have a support, but it's, we're going to have to see what happens. And that's, again, like, at the end of the day, it's back to this. You see what I mean? It's back to this shape and what we're looking at here. Now, it's pretty ugly, right? But you can kind of say, well, it's like in this, it's trying to make this falling wedge. To me, it's just a bear flag that's just breaking down. They're just like coming in and out of the pattern. But once this 7-minute gets up there again, I mean, it's just, to me, it looks more bearish. But again, could it fill out this diamond? There's a chance, right? There's a chance. So only time will tell. Only time will tell. Okay. So that's like, I'm watching this pattern here for the day. Not really, I'm not trading long or short here. I want to see how this plays out, Could be some scalps on the smaller time frames, but I find weeks when Monday is flipped off and they do funky stuff on Tuesday, it throws off Wednesday a little bit. And it just takes time for the market. The good thing I do see is this bullish divergence. It's almost, sometimes I call that a double bullish divergence, but we pulled it on a different time frame. If we really clean it, as long as this level, see, it doesn't touch. Like, you can think, you can double click for it. Sorry, let's go. You can double click on the RSI, and you can see, you can clear, as long as you can make one line to the next and this doesn't touch. I've back tested this too, because I've gone over so many different divergences that I had to, like, get crazy with it and be like, okay, what's the final verdict on this and verdict on that? And if I'm going to be teaching people, what is it? And I have found, and I know if you'll backtest it as much as me, you'll come to the similar conclusion that as long as this doesn't touch, it's a viable divergence. You know what I mean? This would have, and you could say, fine, this was one, and then yet another one. But then you could just say, fine, this one's just even more steeper, and it's still a nice bullish divergence, right? Because that's a sharp downtrend. So, but again, unless we can get I don't know how I hit the 10-minute, but unless we can get a candle to close, like, you got to break this high, right? You got to get a candle to close above 27,200 to even think about being bullish. Like, until then, like, we're in a nasty little mini downtrend here, and the bears are in control, right? So I just see things as they are, without trying to sugarcoat it for myself. No matter how bad I want Bitcoin to go up in the long term, you got to just look at things, And then what we're gonna do now too is we eventually freestyle, which we're gonna we're gonna look at the DXY, see what the DXY is doing as well. And look, I mean, now remember, this is getting overbought on the 4-hour. With a bearish divergence. You see that? And what the bearish divergence is I mean, it's you have uptrending price action and downtrending RSI. As the RSI gets high too, and it seems to have, you seem to have some a lack of bullish momentum so far, you know, but so that's not too bullish, right? And then the daily on this is very high. And yes, I mean, I just, the sad thing is I love the Adam and Eve double bottom, and I can't say that's not an Adam and Eve double bottom. That's exactly what it is. And when price action gets tight here, we pump up to the 200 SMA, you know? So, and I've seen that defy high stochastics and just bing and go right up to that yellow line, which would make you know, that's your next big, you know, you have some resistance right there, but you have two big candles that hit that zone. So that's an area that we're looking at, you know, for the dollar. And even when it pulls back, usually it makes a little flag. And this, I mean, it's still a very strong bullish pattern, in my humble opinion. So, you know, I can't shy it. But I look at the 3-day and the 2-day and the bigger time frames, and they're all saying that it's overbought. So, you know, we'll go from there. You could try to open this up and say it's a bigger, something like this maybe. And we're at a resistance and it's going to come on down. You know, that's one possible idea, but I can't not see this, you know, nice double bottom here. And it's basically an Adam and Eve. So that's how I've traded PEPE beautifully. And see, you'd be like, well, how are you talking about the DXY and PEPE in the same sentence? And that's where TA comes in, because it doesn't matter the asset. Like, it matters the setup. I'll trade any setup on any asset that has enough volume. You show me something with a lot of volume, I'll trade that setup. It just has to have volume. People will know about it. It's getting tweeted by 4 million people. It's getting this many retweets, and it's, you know, it's trending on Twitter. Oh, okay. That's something that I'm starting to look at. Okay. So that's the key to technical analysis. And once you fall in love with technical analysis, you won't shy away from a setup because of some emotional tone in your mind. You'll just go for a setup because that's the setup that you love, you know? And it's also nice to know, because when you want things to go a certain way, like I might be pro bullishly Bitcoin. Of course, I love Bitcoin, but that doesn't mean I can't see an Adam and Eve double bottom here on the dollar index, because I have to stick to the technical analysis. I can't stick to how I feel about an asset. And the more you fall, it's almost bot-like. It's sad, but you know, you lose that connection to like dreaming and hoping and thinking, which is a great thing to have, and it's a good creative characteristic, but it's just not for the crypto trade. It's not for trading. You know, trading, you need to be into the mechanical structure of the math and be in tune with that to the point where that makes your basically overall probability decisions. Like, you need to see the math and the data give you enough information for you to be like, yeah, that makes sense to me, or no, I don't see that, you know. And that is, you know, and that to me is the key. But that's the learning process that takes, like, for me, 3 to 4, I even say 5 years. I don't want to scare people off, but like, it takes a lot of time to blend your mind into the science to the point where you like can just make a decision based on a shape that you see, not on anything else. And it just, like, you see it and you're like, yep, you know. Like, I eventually bought Bitcoin at the top of this, like very close to this top area, because this had a bearish divergence and it was in a rising wedge, and it told me like it was coming down, you know. And you could almost say, okay, fine, it was this big of a rising wedge, and rising wedges break down to where they began, you know. And that's where it started, and like there, of course, that's where you came back to, and that alone. And you can look here, I learned my lesson with Bitcoin's bearish divergence, and I was able to call it out on the weekly, right? If anyone remember watching my channel at the time, or they were in the trading group at the time, and all I had to see was a sharp swing up with the RSI giving us a sharp swing down, and I was like, oh no, that's no good, you know. And it usually will coincide with a rising wedge that's going to break down to where it began, just like this one did. Eventually even made a shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder that a lot of people saw, and you know. So when I saw this rising wedge and this bearish divergence, it told me that like that should be the top, that should be the, you know, if Bitcoin and the dollar. And that's why you can't just go by the dollar and Bitcoin, because the dollar is getting affected by other currencies throughout the world. Watch our DXY video where we explain the basket of currencies that the dollar kind of bangs, goes back and forth with, and how they only chose like maybe five or seven main. Like there's other big currencies that they don't even consider a balancing it. Like, it's kind of weird. It's like they picked and choose who was going to create the global monetary asset connection. Like it was only going to be these certain cryptocurrencies, right? And again, I like what Wendy said, crypto assets. It's not cryptocurrencies anymore, it's crypto assets. That's it. Because they are assets, right? Some of them are commodities, utilities. They're not like, they have more qualities than a stock. They can be moved around, they can be used for all different things. So we're looking at the DXY, and there's a chance that it's going to struggle here in the bigger structure, right? Which is interesting, right? Because you think, are we going to get a massive pump? But the 1 hour looks like pretty interesting. Almost looks more like this, like it came, it retested, it bounced on up. But it does have even a bearish divergence here, so it's interesting to me. And it's getting overbought, kind of a shoulder head and a wacky shoulder. Could see, look, that's even an Adam and Eve there. See how it's like a sharp? It's interesting. You'll start seeing these things all the time now, if you stay in tune. So the dollar index is getting a little overbought. Like, it just is what it is. I see, maybe one more push up to that 200 SMA, which could get that Bitcoin pushed down like we're showing, and then possibly a little bit of resistance for a while before it either bursts back up for a retest or, it slides. Technically could be at a resistance now if this is the shape. I'm just first looking at this. This is one of the first times I've kind of identified this idea. So bring it back down somewhere to 97. Well, eventually could ever break that 100 mark. It didn't. That would be so psychological. It got very close to 181.81. But so we have to basically watch this 4 hour time frame that still has a little gas in it, and felt like it kind of broke out of this. You can see like this is kind of a breakout. It was channeling, call it a bullish rectangle, or to me more of like a little bull flag, and it has a bigger move to the upside and still a little more gas. So, and that one thing is that daily pump to the 200 SMA. Got very close a few times. We didn't hit it, but when these get tight is when you usually do hit it. And we've played that many times and on many coins. So that could be one last kind of push for the dollar. And then I see it at least getting overbought for a bit. Ethereum is, what's good about Ethereum is, look, it had that same resistance zone, resistance, and it hasn't breached it yet like Bitcoin has. So that's, I'm not saying it's amazing, but it's a better deal, right, so far. And you could say it's still kind of out, for me, you could try, I guess it's still in the same kind of box. You could try to put it in as Bitcoin. Like, does it go lower or is it retesting? Really depends on how you want to draw this line. But you do have this resistance, and like, what was that hitting? So that gives you a little bit of like, okay, well, it's very overbought now. But again, it'll follow Bitcoin in the grand scheme of things. It might get off track here and there, but for the most part, you're looking at a falling wedge on the 1 hour time frame. You're very oversold in the 4 hour time frame too as well, right? There's a chance this does get some type of pop back up to the upside, and it's just like a retest of this level. But that's why I watch the smaller time frames on Bitcoin, because they'll be the first ones to really give me the indication of what's happening. You see? And look at that. People would have long that, and now they're getting like, they're going to bounce price action around right now a little bit. and they just liquidated $69,000 worth of longs. They liquidated a bunch of shorts. So they're just going after whoever's really out there. For the most part, the liquidity is down to 26,005. So this is telling us that we're likely going to the downside on the afternoon. 26.8, you know, and bit of a diamond forming. We'll see how this plays out. This is what I would be watching. Maybe even like, you know, and you don't have to stare at it. What I put is put some vertical lines in here, like Alt V, and then I'll just basically kind of let that hang out. And 20, and I'll just put it like, I'll right click it and throw an alert on that line. And if when price action crosses that line, it's gonna hit you know, it's gonna go off and let me know. So okay, and that brings us to the news real quick at 11:22. All right. Shout out to my news team. God bless you all. Thank you for all the love, all the hard work. I appreciate it. Okay. All right. Oh, and someone said they missed the beginning, so I think I have the old beginning now, but we'll see. Shout out to everybody here on the live. Thank you for jumping on and appreciate each and every one of you for being here. My name is Samuel James Price, and every single day on the Crypto Lifer Show, I'm the Crypto Lifer, and we are the Lifers. I go over the news, and we talk about things that are happening as Web3 converts in, or Web2 converts into Web3, and we see a lot of the movement of bigger companies that we used to know about making headway into the blockchain Web3 space. PayPal Ventures leads a $52 million round for crypto firm Magic. The startup offers non-custodial wallet infrastructure for an enterprise client list that includes Macy's and Mattel. Crypto wallet as a service provider Magic has raised $52 million in a new strategic funding round led by PayPal Ventures. The funding will help expand functionality to include more use cases and towards a deeper expansion with the European Union and Asia Pacific region. Mass adoption of Web3 is a hot topic, and Magic is facilitating this with a safe and simple solution, said Alan Dew, partner at PayPal Ventures. In this press release, Magic's wallet creation service allows companies to reach millions of users on their apps and onboard customers who are new to Web3. We're proud to be investing in Magic and believe the company will help drive the growth number of Web3 use cases among global brands. That's a big deal. PayPal there, Magic there, and that's what we need is like, and I believe that comes from also UK clarity, right? Because it did mention more UK, right? As you can say, right? European and Asian Pacific region, right? Expansion in European Union, because they got the clarity, right? And now you can see big money. Now you can see big money wanting to come into the fold here and begin to come. And that's adoption. I mean, we want adoption, but Mattel and Macy's that want non-custodial wallets, it's a pretty big deal. So that's huge for me, huge. And PayPal in there again, one of the leading companies, right? Well, great minds came out of that too. USDT issuer Tether ventures into payment processing with Georgia Investment. The stablecoin issuer announced earlier this week it's investing in a sustainable Bitcoin mining facility in Uruguay. Yeah, I remember this. This is big news too, but just they're continuing it on. Like Tether issuer of 83 billion USDT stablecoin has invested in an undisclosed amount in the payment processor firm CitiPay.io, according to Wednesday's press release. Oh, this is interesting. CitiPay.io added USDT as a payment option for users in over 600 locations, including restaurants, shops, and hotels in the Caucasian country of Georgia. Tether tweeted, CitiPay.io linked to Binance Pay, the payment arm of the world's largest crypto exchange, allowing purchases with cryptocurrencies earlier this year, Binance tweeted. So like, if you had a Binance account and you made money, they have a card for you, right? And you can just spend money out of your account. And now that's connected to CitiPay, which also is taking Tether. Tether's investment is in line with a new plan, or they're invested in it too, to allocate part of its excess profits to purchase Bitcoin and venture into infrastructure payments and communication projects. The company reported almost $1.5 billion in net profit for the first quarter. Earlier this week, Tether also announced an investment in sustainable energy production and Bitcoin mining in Uruguay. So now they're also talking, just keeping it sustainable. I get it. So this is awesome. Tether's making some big moves. And that tells you that, like, this is where the money is made. In the bear markets, in the lesser prices, they're making big moves. That's a big deal. They also, buying up more Bitcoin, mining more Bitcoin, and just making investments, beginning to grow their reach around the world is a big deal. Crypto traders need to pay attention to Chinese yuan. The POBOC's potential intervention to stem yuan volatility could accelerate gains in the dollar index and add to crypto markets' woes. So someone's saying that the yuan, and one of the 5 currencies in the International Monetary Fund's special drawing rights basket, right? They have what's called IDRs, like they have they have like other forms of money. It's called it's like a basket of cryptocurrencies. Has depreciated by 2.7% against the US dollar this month. Its worst performance is September. Going back to February, the decline goes to 5% versus the greenback, and investment banking giant Goldman Sachs suggests it could drop further. Historically, yuan devaluation has been considered bullish for fiat currency alternative assets like Bitcoin and gold, but the other side of the coin is a strong dollar. The U.S. unit is already on a rise trend, and further strength might lead to continued monetary tightening worldwide, and headwind if risk assets, cryptocurrencies among them, says some observers. I mean, they'll probably try to push it down the best they can, right? But I believe that Bitcoin is on its 4-year cycle, and that halving is just going to have more value weighted to it than people realize. I'm not saying we can't go and see lower lows or 10K and anything. Anything could happen. It's highly unlikely with the bullish divergence in the weekly, percentage-wise based on assets throughout the world. To me, I stick to the charts no matter what I'm hearing in the news. Many times I was, almost footed out of positions based on reading, things like GBC was supposed to basically unlock and all the Bitcoin was going to get wrecked and taken. But it didn't happen. And a lot of people sold thinking we were going to 10K, and we actually bounced off 29 all the way to 69,000 and made a massive move in the market. So a lot of people got hurt off that reading the news and getting fudded by their own emotions, The People's Bank of China, the country's central bank, loosely pegs CNB's value to a basket of 24 currencies through a magnetic float system. The daily fixer midpoint is set every trading day to provide direction to the market. The currency basket reflects China's trading partners, and with the U.S. being the largest, the dollar has the highest weighting at 19.8%. The euro, the Japanese yen, British pound, Australian dollar, Mexican pesos, some of the baskets of currencies. So they're thinking just because the yuan is losing to the dollar is so strong, it could hurt Bitcoin. But I think, yes, there may be a little, basically liquidity grab there in the back end, where people might actually want to buy some things with the strong dollar could help them as a risk, in a riskier time, like T-bills and stuff like that. But at the same time, I believe the halving is just got that urgency. Enough people throughout the world understand what Bitcoin is, and it's in its own world cycle too as well. But I'll pay attention to this for sure, and it doesn't mean it's not something we don't have to think about. And everyone, that is the news for the day. Hope you got excited about it, and come back and watch the news every single day. Even if you only have a few minutes, we're going to give it to you exactly how you need it and when you need it. Thank you. All right, so kind of a fallback, another bearish retest, and just chop. Now a bunch of chop, just going after the 100 and the 50x leverage people trade and just kind of knocking them out either way, finding its way. Is somewhat of a reversal diamond. I'll give you that. We'll see how it plays out. But at the same time, it can be just considered, in my mind, just like a nasty bear flag that is just, eventually going to make its way back down to this liquidity zone at 26,200, right? No guarantees. It could have been the low there. How do we figure that out? Well, I'd like to see it break this previous high at least once and hang out here. And that would be more an idea to long, because at least it would, complex in head and shoulders. At least it's got to have some structure, reversal structure. And for me, all we have is this divergence that hasn't been able to get us back above the previous highs on the left. So it tells me to watch out, and there's more momentum to the downside. But that's just kind of the way I trade, So I'd be watching this on the 7, and, and again, I've gone over the macro ideas for Bitcoin, right? And tonight we have a monthly candle close, which we'll have to break it down to as well. But if we look at like this chart on Coinbase and we look at the weekly, it just matters that we stay above the 200 SMA. We lose this level. That's, you can stay down there for months again, and it could be, So I'm just a firm believer in the 200 SMA, and I use it so much that it's taught me so much on multiple ideas. And this, man, we don't want to lose this yellow line. We could get a fake out a little lower. I mean, I'm open-minded to anything, but the second we start closing 1 or even 2 weekly candles below this yellow line, it would cause me some cause for concern, or at least to start making money bearishly. I'd start opening up some more shorts to the downside. So, and we're looking at this kind of bigger picture too. I guess you could almost kind of do this, but I wouldn't be surprised if we bounced up to here. And again, the scary thing about the concern, but like we could make a head and shoulder pattern there too. So I'm open-minded, and I'll stay open-minded as we continue. And if Bitcoin previous bounce becomes new resistance, so we got to get back above 31,008. That's going to be our big test. And if we can shoot up to like 30, hit this level here, probably be a nice short back down for the retest. So a trade in the future one day, somewhere would be like a short in the 37 to 80 range, somewhere in there, 200 to 280, back down to like 31,000, That's if we ever get to the other levels, just I like to project and see how things play out over time. And again, Fibonacci was wick to wick, like we didn't even come back to the 618 yet, and that would coincide with just this previous resistance, and it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, like if we could make a bigger flag, and then that's still a cup and handle with a massive potential of a move up. So now we break this low here and we start closing candles below there, then the whole trend is in it, because you have a low, you have a high, you have a higher low, you have a higher high, now you have a higher low. You can go lower into these regions. You just can't make a low lower than that on the weekly. You do that, that's going to be the end of the trend. That's when I'll consider entirely bearishness all the way to who knows. That'll change my thought on a lot of things if we do that. Because it would be a clear break in the weekly trend, which is, once the weekly makes a trend, it's a strong trend that you must heed. So that's just how it is. All right. And that's kind of, that's the sauce for the day, in my humble opinion. And again, we're back, remember, back to watching this diamond on the 7-minute time frame. And just some chop up and down. We'd have to, either you can open up a short with a stop loss right above here. Personally, you do whatever makes you happy. A trader, this is going to be the level of resistance here. So that would be, but a lot of people could be there and they could just gobble them up. But, and to me, it's a little too far for like the proper leverage trade. Like the time would have been kind of opening it here or here. So if I miss my key areas to get in, I don't force the trade until I decide I design a new area, And right now I just see, this could just make some chop, bearishly retest and then drop, or, likely come back up, which it's supposed to. But, it doesn't mean it's going to be amazing. Okay, I went over the CME gaps already. They'll be timestamped in the video if you want to check them out. Okay. And thank you for the $15 in chat revenue. I greatly appreciate that. God bless each and every one of you for doing that. And the weekly chart, as I said numerous times, and I'll continue to say, we just got to stay above this 200 SMA. like to see this 21 cross it, as we went over. Every time the 21 crossed that on the weekly, and we went over multiple assets and back tested that, a lot of big moves did occur on multiple assets. So I'm not guaranteeing it. We went over the facts and the math there. That was quite interesting. So that's the one thing that we want to pay attention to as well. All right. $20K or $30K. Yep, same answers. Nothing really changed there. And we sit at 26,900, right? And again, it's funny, like battling the $27,000 level, right? Just like, and again, remember the major resistance is this line right here at 27,000. We'll call it 27,200. Got to start closing the candle back above that zone, or it's more free fall. Okay. So I'm more bearish than bullish at the present moment in time. And the best case scenario is a possible diamond that could save us, right? And we're looking at that now on the 7-minute. So if most probability is we break down to this level, 26,264, somewhere into this afternoon and tonight. But it's no guarantees, but to me, it's the most likely scenario based on probability. But what do I know over here? You know what I'm saying? So we looked over the DXY, we can look at tether dominance too. What is tether dominance doing? Well, on the weekly, it's at a resistance point too, which is interesting. So there, I was about to say. And if it can't get back above this area, it's going to come further down, right? And that means people would be, buying altcoins or getting into Bitcoin. So it's very overbought on the 1 hour. It might make a little pump out of that flag. It's getting overbought on the 4 hour, and to me, it's almost like retesting this. It's like it doesn't look amazing, Looks like it's there was some bearish divergence there, and it's retesting this, and it's making some type of, like, it could make a shoulder, like, I don't know, it looks like it's most likely coming down. So it's interesting to see that tether dominance looks like it's going to give up a little bit, and if we look at Bitcoin dominance, it wants to bounce on the 4 hour. It's like tighter in this channel now, and we've been watching this. Now again, we could just see it, but right now you got that, your 4 hours overbought finally pretty nicely. Your 1 hour is still just dwindling. End of the day, it's a falling wedge. Now, it's not amazing for altcoins every time this drops, because that if the whole market drops, so you want the market to pump, and you want you want basically the total market cap to stay better or good as dominance slides down. You get it? Because you want to make sure more money's coming into the market and just not going into Bitcoin. And that's when you want to see dominance. But like, we could just see a pump back up in here and some tightness too for Bitcoin dominance, with just some chop. That would be a good scenario if we can get that move. So watching Bitcoin dominance, because if this pumps, that means Bitcoin's is likely going to stabilize too as well. And tether dominance is in our favor right now, getting a little overbought. Like, too many people have run out, and it's interesting. XRP, shout out to Stanford Mineco LLC, my man. Let's take a look at our baby XRP, all right, on KuCoin. So XRP had a nice pump all the way to the target, which is interesting, right? And that's simple. Like, that's simple trading. You get it? Length of the pole with the flag. And, it said you would get basically to about 53 cents. And what we hit 52.90. So it's interesting. Now, it's all interesting. That's funny. I say that too much, but it gives you, it's like, wow. So XRP did break out for whatever reason. You can see it's a shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder there that broke to the upside. A lot of times it does come down and retest the neckline. So if like XRP came all the way back to this area here, I wouldn't be too surprised at about 48 cents. All right. Well, I'm going to deep dive it right now. But to me, it broke out of a bigger channel, and it's healthy. So I remove all my drawings. I look at it on the daily. And it's got this trend line it's respecting. It's kind of forming this ascending triangle. Ascending triangles are more bullish when they come out of the bottom of a channel. You know what I mean? Because they're building momentum to the upside. You know, it's different when you see one, because they can be anywhere. Like, you know, like this is almost somewhat of an ascending triangle here, but like, it was more like a symmetrical. But point is, in the wrong place, that's why they're 50-50 patterns. But in the right place, they have higher probability of breaking out. You know, so you're looking for XRP to kind of get tighter in this zone and break out. Like, that's in my humble opinion. Eventually, it could get to this 83 cents. You know, by October. That's interesting. That's just what this says. You know, I'm not, you know, what you're looking for is bullish consolidation, though, which puts it in accumulation. And accumulation is when you have like a rounded bottom after a nasty sell-off, and you're just kind of, you know, rounding out a lot. And to me, that looks a lot like accumulation to me, you know, and eventually it starts to break back out of accumulation. Just like this was accumulation right here. You're looking for these same scenarios. And what you can even do is, you know, it doesn't say it's exact, but you can like measure the accumulation. It's weird. It went all the way back up and down again. So you kind of have to include that. But about 600 days of accumulation. And that's, you know, that's kind of how the big boys operate. You know, they take their time, and then, you know, this one you could say started here. It's been 400 days, and if it keeps going all the way, you'll eventually get pretty close to that 600-day level, 537. So that's a good amount of accumulation, you know, which tells me that, yeah, I mean, end that court case and get this thing flying, you know. I don't think it's going to be an amazing pump. Like I said before, I don't think it's going to be like $2, $3 XRP out of nowhere. I think it'll get like a little lackluster compared to what people think. It'll get sold off pretty quickly from people that have been just holding on to it for so long. But if you're an XRP army like me and you're willing to just hang out, then just hang out, you know. See where this thing goes in a couple years. And if it doesn't hit like, you know, I don't know, $4 to $5 or something by like 2026, I'm out. Like, I'm out. Like, how much longer can you hold, you know? Will PEPE ever stop bleeding? It's interesting. I mean, PEPE is a coin you gotta watch, right? And it's not like, I mean, it'll likely look, it wicked down, interesting, to the 786, came back up, but like in the general scheme, it's retracing its Fibonacci retracement, right? And it's coming down to the 786 level, which is a pretty scrumptious level. And you can see we have this level here, but you have to remember, there's so many people, it was a meme coin with meme coin hype. And you see it trending now with millions of, you know, no. So because it's not always trending, like, you have to tell yourself, like, it's PEPE, man. You know, and remember when I even drew this and said that we could likely come to the 706 to 15, maybe even lower to 10 or 12, people gawked at me, but like, that's Fibonacci for you. You know, if this can go into accumulation and begin to get a rounded bottom here, and it can stop, like, you know, it can slowly start making like a lower level, like, that could be great, and then it could be off on its way again. But the biggest gains have been made for PEPE, really, at this point. When we bring it down, we'll see like how much more. It's still a double up, or you know, a 200%, which is the double, but that's PEPE in a nutshell for you. All right. And yeah, Phantom getting to the sweet spot. I haven't got back into Phantom yet, and there's been a lot of good talks about it too recently. Now, what Phantom could be doing is, you know, an Adam and Eve here, right? Double bottom. Takes some time to build, right? Falling wedge could break back to the upside. Not amazing, though. It tends to follow Bitcoin. Interesting. But it did have this Adam and Eve, and it bounced and bounced. It's attempting to double bottom here, right? I'd just be wary with Bitcoin on the lamb, because Phantom tends to follow Bitcoin no matter where it goes, right? So you're looking at like dot 3S, which is a 3S token for Polkadot. I remember you have to actually put it in like USDT.3S. And I just always, I like to look at the short tokens. It's important I look at the short tokens. And there it's in like, you know, a bit of a flag there on the daily, which tells me, I mean, look, and I've seen these pump up to the 200 SMA too before. So no guarantees, but like this Polkadot short could make some 90% gains, at least like 74. So, you know, and that's just what the charts is showing you on the daily, you know, lack of bearish momentum. You can move up here. The stochastics want to push out. And so if Bitcoin falls out that flag, you know, and drops like 10% or 8%, these coins make some gains. So this is what I start watching and pay attention to. All right. And these are on KuCoin. So like, they're like, it's like baby leverage. It's like how you start off trading leverage. But I've made in my life, I've made a good amount of gains on these coins. I just don't hold them more than 5 to 10 hours. Like they're in and out scalps for me. Like if the chart, you know, a day, 2 days at the very most. If the trade doesn't play out, the trade doesn't play out. You know, like I don't sit there all day waiting to see if like, or for 5 days, like, because they rebalance these tokens and I don't really want, you know, so I'm in and out on these things whenever I'm using them. They're on KuCoin. They're basically like an ETF type of thing. So they're interesting. Anyway, you'd have to figure this out on your own and see if it's something that you want to do. I'm just showing you what I do, you know, or what I've seen and what I've done in the past as well. So 3L and 3S tokens are just give you 3x leverage on whatever you're trading, and you can't get liquidated. You're not using a futures exchange. There's no funding rate either. You know, it's another thing about it. So it's interesting. All right. Any feelings on XDC? You know, I like XDC. It's cool. Small position. I don't know if it's my go-to. You know what I mean? I know the coin tends to move with XRP and XLM and all that fun stuff, but it all depends, right? I mean, it's back at resistance, which back at support, right? Previous support becomes new resistance. It's slightly cup and handle-esque. Had a nice pump up, right back down. Seems to have spiked right out of that. Wow, it's gotten a pump here today off the 200 SMA. A little overbought. But the 2-day chart suggests this thing can continue to moon. So it's getting started. Then I would look at like the 4 or the 1. And look at some type of like flag. It's either going to flag out sideways or up, right? More likely down because it's so far from the 21. And you're looking for price action to come in contact with the 21 and then continue. And that's how you could ride the 2-day, but have to find some type of, has to be an entry somehow doing the proper ways. You can't just jump in whenever you want. You see what I mean? If that makes sense. And there's more long liquidations as we're starting to get that move further down for Bitcoin. All right. Just more bearish than bullish based on what I'm watching. But, you know, we'll see. Can we double bottom? Can we make some type of reversal pattern? The smaller time frames will teach us the way. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for being here. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. You can find out when I post my next video. Remember, if you came to the channel, then you're already doing the right thing. May God bless each and every one of you for being here. Yeah, that's cool, man. Probably the better way. I appreciate you for saying that. One more thing someone said that I'd like to look at. It's like a slight cup and handle in the 1 hour, possibly, you know. I mean, it's got the leading cup. You know, I call it an ascending cup, I guess, right? An ascending cup and handle. with a higher right side. I mean, you're hitting some support areas that matter, right? You've got a lot of, like, you've bounced a lot off the zone. Point of control right there too. But I believe it's a little far-fetched. But I mean, what you do still have is a little hidden bullish divergence, which is interesting, that I didn't see before. Swing up with a swing down. Can you get the bounce? And again, let's just see what the smaller time frame brings on that 7 minute. In the valley of darkness, we move forward towards the light. You know you are the reason I'm going to become a millionaire. When I'll make sure I'll bring you with me to the top, man. God bless you, brother, man. You'll get whatever you truly put your mind to in life, no matter what. Everyone, thank you so much for being here. I love you. Have a great day. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. You can find out when I post my next video. Remember, if you came to the channel, then you're already doing the right thing. I'll see you tomorrow at another beautiful day. Gratitude is the attitude. Or tonight, actually, with a monthly candle close at 8 p.m. So look out for tonight with a monthly stream. It'll probably just be 8 to 9 o'clock, just in and out. But I can't wait to be here for the monthly stream. I'll see you all tonight. May God bless each and every one of you. May you have a wonderful day. And shout out to people that were outside enjoying the weather. You got to take advantage of the weather, especially in the Northeast, where we don't get to take advantage of the weather as much. So may God bless you all. Thank you for being around, and I'll catch you on the next live. Be safe.